This is going to be a slightly different event recap than what you have seen on this channel until now, mostly because if there is one thing that I have learned about puzzle marathons by now is that if you are planning anything that is not puzzling, it's not going to happen. So what I mean by slightly different event recap is that I didn't film too much while I was there. I was mostly focused on obviously puzzling and being with my friends for that 10 hours. I barely had any breaks, and most of those breaks were just running around and trying to catch up with the very few people that I actually got around to in my breaks. And other than that, I'm going to be using mostly footage of the live stream that I got permission for from the organizer. And I also got to chat a little bit with the organizer of the event, Susanne Wessely, who was working together with the German association to make the event happen. And I thought it would be pretty interesting to hear how someone makes such an event happen. And yes, so you're going to get a little bit of a behind the scenes of how a puzzle marathon happens. I'm going to try and tie it together with the whole video because obviously me and technology going together, it didn't work out exactly. So as I was recording our interview, a little bit of it didn't work out the way I wanted. So what we're going to be doing is just take a look at the event itself and different aspects of it and see how Susanne was also talking about them, and yes, get a little bit of an overview of how a puzzle marathon is organized. Hello from my car. I'm off to a very puzzling weekend. I'm picking up my friends and we're driving to Munich for a 10-hour marathon yet again. And yes, we're going to be staying together, so it's going to be a really puzzle party weekend, and we're just going to enjoy the company and just puzzle as much as we can. So I'm going to take you with me for the weekend, most likely not for the drive itself, but yeah, the next time you see me, I will be already in Munich. Now, obviously, once we got to the Airbnb and we settled in, it was already pretty late. We still squeezed in one puzzle to do, which was maybe not the best decision because we were super tired. We didn't get a very good time on it, even though we kind of attempted to be speed puzzling as a team. But yeah, that didn't work out the way we planned, mostly because we were tired, the light was not good, and it was just late. But the next morning we rock up at the venue and it looks pretty incredible already. There was a huge flyer on the building saying that it's the 10-hour marathon, which somehow, I don't know, just added a lot to arriving, knowing where we're going. And then, yeah, once we arrived, it was kind of a rush. Now, this was the very first team marathon that was organized in Germany, so it felt like it was kind of a big deal. It was also a very popular event. It was sold out quite quickly and there were so many people entered. So once I saw everyone at their tables, it was somehow a little emotional even, just to see so many people turning up. There were a lot of German teams, obviously, but there were also many people from abroad. There were all kinds of people from all around Europe, which was also very, very nice to see. And the first thing that I wanted to ask of Susanne, obviously, was how she came to the idea of organizing a marathon.
I think the idea of organizing a marathon was, I always liked the idea of puzzling together with friends for the whole day. And I saw that there are those puzzle marathons in other countries, in Belgium and in France and Spain. I watched some live streams of them and thought, why is no marathon here where I live? So that was the idea. We need to have it here in Germany, in the south of Germany, to make it available to more people to join a marathon and have a good day with friends with puzzling.
Now, once the idea is there, the obvious next thing is how someone even begins to organize an event like this.
I think the first step after having the idea to organize a marathon was I talked to my husband, Toby, and explained what I would like to do and what I would like to organize. And he was supporting me from the first minute on, and we had more ideas on how this could really happen. And he also decided that he would go for the live stream and make the live stream happening. So he's very interested in all the new modern technique, electronic devices, things and so on. That was nearly the beginning. Then we had ideas of where should it take place, but we always had an idea of how all the technical things should work.
The event was sponsored by 7 different puzzle brands, which were Cherry Patsy, Ulmer Puzzleschmiede, Clementoni, Heyer, Puzzle U, Schmidt, and Treffel. So there was a very good variety of brands with different piece cuts, completely different styles. We're definitely going to be talking about the puzzles themselves. But what is really interesting is how someone gets such an insane amount of puzzles. Because if you think about it, it was 63 teams that took part in the events, and every single team received all of the puzzles that were used in the competition, whether they have started the puzzle during the marathon or they haven't. So they all received the puzzles, which is an insane amount of puzzles because there were 13 puzzles in the lineup. So what is interesting to know is how someone actually approaches brands to get their support and to use so many puzzles in the marathon.
In total, we had 7 puzzle brands, manufacturers, who supported us with sponsoring the puzzles. They were completely sponsored. I got in contact with the association, I think in January. Together with Michael, I was at the toy fair in Nuremberg, and there we talked to a lot of puzzle manufacturers if they would be interested in sponsoring the event. Some of them we really found there, but some others we could use some other contacts the association had. They were contacted by other puzzle brands that they would love to support some puzzle events. And then we offered them this could be their chance to be part of the marathon and bring their puzzle to the people.
Another thing that you might have already noticed from the footage that you have seen of the event is that there was a very specific layout of the tables in the venue. And that was one thing that we were pretty stressed about already before the event when we started seeing things on Instagram of how the tables are being set up. Mostly because there were rows of tables and they were organized into rows of 3 next to each other. So pretty much there was one table in the middle where the team would not be able to switch so much. So I definitely wanted to ask Susanne why the tables were set up the way they were, because that was probably one of the things that some teams were not that happy about, mostly because it's not that easy to access the middle table and you can't switch around if you want to change positions for the team or anything like that. So that's something that I definitely wanted to talk about.
How we placed the tables was really difficult because that was also not in my mind that this could be so difficult. I thought, we have some tables and we place them in the room as best as they fit for this competition or for this marathon. But then I got the information, no, we have only 4 plans how the tables can be placed and you need to choose one of it. So it was a bit difficult to then decide what is the best fitting, although it's not really best. And then we decided for those rows we finally had. It was still not the perfect choice, I think, because all the middle tables of those groups of 3 have some disadvantages because they cannot switch so easily the places. But it was still better than what we had before, and I decided that this should be the table design for this event.
Another thing about this marathon was that there were a lot of volunteers involved helping out. Obviously, to accommodate so many teams with so many people, you definitely need a good team that is working together. And I think at this marathon, it really worked out very well. You had many helpers who were bringing puzzles to your table. So once the teams started puzzling, they didn't really have to leave, apart from switching people, obviously, for their breaks. But you didn't have to run for your puzzles or anything. The puzzles were delivered to your table, which was a very nice addition, and it made it way more comfortable for participants to not have to move. As soon as you were about to finish your puzzle, somebody was already there with your next puzzle. Now, what I wanted to know from Susanne as well is how many people you actually need to set up an event of this size.
Before the event, I think we had, not including the real day before where we prepared the venue, just before that, I think I had about 5 people who supported in just brainstorming how we can do things and how we mark the tables with numbers and names and how we do the puzzle bringing to the tables or not bringing, just having one who helped me a lot in brainstorming all those things. On the preparation day, the day before the event, there were some others, I think 6-7 people who just helped to place the tables, bring all the techniques for the equipment for the live stream together, and program the cameras and so on. So we were about 7 at the day before, and on the day itself, in total, 15 to 20 people who offered their help to volunteer and make everything run very smooth. I think it worked as we planned it. And we had, I had 2 who coordinated also the volunteers. I think you met them. They were Daphne and Nico. They had a lot of experience from other competitions. That was really helpful.
Now, with the amount of helpers and effort that was put into the entire event, it went very, very smoothly from the participant side, obviously. But because there were about 360 participants involved in the event just taking part, there must have been some hiccups during the event. And I definitely wanted to know if there was anything that didn't go according to plan during the organization or during the event. And I wanted to hear if there was anything behind the scenes that participants might not have experienced.
Yeah, during the organization, we had a lot of things that went not as I planned it at the beginning. Also in the delivery of the puzzles, we had a double delivery. We had a delivery that arrived less than 24 hours before we wanted to start, so we needed to find a plan B where we can just get some more puzzles. It was also difficult to really have an idea of how many puzzles and how much volume those boxes of puzzle will need in my house. I had 6 of the 13 puzzles in my home. How was it? 400, and also some of the prizes, 400 to 500 puzzles I had at home, just in some boxes. Yeah, and then one of the sponsors where I work, they offered that the puzzles can be delivered there, and the logistics department helped me a lot to store the puzzles. They could be delivered on pallets, and it was really easy that they could be delivered there. And there we had, not the 7 because we had the double delivery, so we had 9 puzzles there.
There were many puzzles involved in the event. And obviously, if you think about it, those puzzles have to get there somehow. So I definitely wanted to know how all the puzzle got to the event and what you needed to go through to have those puzzles prepared, how much work goes into it, and just the logistics of how you handle that big amount of puzzles.
I had some help for that. Friends came over and helped me unwrap them. I could only ask friends that are not participating in the marathon, of course. So friends came over and we did it. I think complete Sunday afternoon for those that I had at home, and the others that were stored at my workplace. Yeah, I did it mainly alone, always after I finished my daily job. Then I went down there and opened the puzzles.
Now, since we have already talked a lot about the puzzles, I think now is the time to actually go through the puzzles that I have here. Now, one I have completed again, partly for just to have a puzzle in the video so that I can show you at least one being completed. This was probably my favorite one. But yes, these are the puzzles that I got from the team. These are the puzzles that I can show you. Now, the first puzzle, the one that is on the table, we're going to do a puzzle flip. Whoop. Now, the first puzzle that I have right here in front of me, it's a 1,000-piece Heya puzzle, and it's a complete insanity. Now, this was probably one of the more challenging ones that came up pretty early. I think this was the 4th in the lineup, and it was quite challenging for a lot of people, also for us. It's a super busy image, as you can see. It's a completely insane image with a lot of very, very funny elements. I actually had my break during this puzzle, so I didn't do very much of it. I think I did right the very beginning when we started flipping and sorting the edges, and then the very end once it was just pick and placing. So this is a completely insane image. Yeah, it's a very fun one, and it was definitely a challenge. It took a lot of time for everybody, as far as I know. So this is called Doodle Village from Heya. Then I actually have the first puzzle of the lineup, which is a Clementoni 500 piece. This was a quite perfect warm-up puzzle, to be honest. One of the reasons that I think it might have been put to the very front is that this was the only 500 piece puzzle in the whole lineup. It's a very early feeling of success for everybody because it's 500 pieces, it's quite doable. It's also well sortable. So it was a really fun one. I'm actually very happy that I got to keep this, and I will most likely try it as a solo puzzle as well. Then we have one which was quite late in the lineup, which is, yes, a Wolverine Marvel puzzle. It's a lot of dark and a lot of lines and textures. There's this in the middle with his mask or whatever it is. I'm not very much into Marvel, which has like all these dots. That is actually very textured, and also it like spreads all around. So at one point you can actually kind of see the spots everywhere. That was one of the things that kind of helped orientate with these deep black parts to know if it has dots or not. So this is a 1,000-piece trefoil puzzle, and I'm actually a big fan of the Premium Plus quality trefoil puzzles by now. I think that the brand is doing really well with bringing this new type of puzzle in. It has very characteristic shapes as well, so the shapes actually help you a lot when completing the puzzle. And then in general, this is just a hard image. So yes, this was definitely a challenge. So the next puzzle is again a Heya puzzle. We just called her the Superwoman, but the title of the image is actually Be the Sunrise. And it is by the artist Norman O'Flynn. And this was hard. It was way more challenging for us than I think we anticipated in the beginning. The blue parts turn out very chaotic, like the arm and these very pink sections kind of make sense, and also like the Superwoman sign. But the rest, the entire background is super hard. And also because Heya tends to have false fits, we had a very hard time with those, especially in the black parts, so much so that during the last 4 or 5 minutes of us doing this puzzle, we had some false fits here, and we just couldn't figure out how to correct them. So we were there with, I think, 10 pieces left, and they just didn't fit in any way that we wanted them to. So that cost us a lot of time completing this puzzle. But in the end, we did figure it out, and we ended up completing this puzzle as well. And then the last puzzle that I have in the lineup is one by Puzzle U. This was, I think, the 12th in line, and it was actually the last puzzle that we got around to out of the 13. But this is difficult. It's a lot of gingerbread and a lot of the same textures. Yeah, Puzzle U is quite a difficult brand, mostly because the piece cut is quite challenging. The pieces are very small compared to all the others, and they don't hold very well together, so they fall apart pretty quickly. Yeah, it's just very challenging to put together. It also feels like, even though they are super characteristic, the piece cut, it still gets you some false fits for some weird reason. So it's definitely a challenging puzzle, and it was also late in the day for such a difficult image. We also didn't finish this puzzle. We were maybe halfway through once the 10 hours were over. So this was the last puzzle that we got to do. So this is a puzzle that I still want to get around to and actually complete before Christmas, because it's a very Christmassy image, obviously, with the gingerbread houses. This was a Puzzle U image, and I'm going to have to see how it is once it is completed. And when mentioning the puzzles, one obvious question to Susanne was obviously, how were the puzzles chosen? How do you actually pick which puzzles to use in the marathon once you actually are in contact with the brands? So let's see what Susanne was saying about that.
In general, I really chose all the puzzles. From some brands, I received some motifs they would prefer to have in the competition, because they are from either some special artists they work with them, or also sometimes we would have enough of that available already in our storage. So yeah, it would help us if you choose one of those 2 out of those 10, for example. Yeah, sometimes I looked if already many people did it. I watched some stats in those My Speed Puzzling, if there are already teams who did those puzzles a lot. But as we had not so common brands, it was easy to really find beautiful puzzles that are not very common. Yeah, we wanted to have more puzzles with 500 or 1,500, but in the end, we only had one sponsor who was available to really give us those piece numbers. And yeah, perhaps next time more 500 and 1,500 piece puzzles. I think it's nice to have more variety, not only the 1,000 pieces.
And then the next question, once you have the puzzle images, how do you choose the order? Because there was one specific order in this marathon and there was no opportunity for teams to skip. There are some marathons where teams can choose to skip one puzzle in case they find that it is too difficult and they just want to tackle it maybe a little bit later. But in this marathon, there was no chance to skip. You had the puzzle served to you and you had to get through one puzzle to get to the next one. So how do you create an order of the puzzles to make it suitable for a marathon?
The process was that I don't want it to have 2 puzzles from one brand directly after another, and to also have a variety of the images of the puzzle. That not two photographs come behind each other. So good variety in the images. And those brands who have only sponsored one, they should be also a bit more at the beginning, that many people really have the chance to puzzle them, and not at the end, not too late in the day.
Now, I don't have the copy of it, but there was one very special puzzle in the lineup, which was also a Puzzle U image of the city of Aschheim. And that was a custom-made puzzle, and I definitely wanted to hear a little bit about how that puzzle got into the lineup and how you get your own custom puzzle. Now, the thing is, Puzzle U does customize puzzles, so it is possible to order your own also from the Puzzle U website, but in order to get it in such a big quantity is also already a question. But also, it's just such a nice idea to have something so special tied to the marathon, because that is kind of like a souvenir to each team to get one puzzle that is a memory of the place where the marathon took place in.
I designed it. I took the picture also together with my husband. We went through Aschheim and on a sunny day and took some pictures of buildings and sculptures we thought could be nice on a puzzle. And yeah, then I arranged them and designed the remaining parts of the puzzle. It was really nice that they offered us to publish or to print a puzzle for us that we can design on ourselves. That was really, really nice.
Now, as I was mentioning already, the organizers had a system of helpers bringing the puzzles to your table, and that is a pretty interesting thing to see in action. And I definitely wanted to have a little bit of behind the scenes of how you come up with a system to make it work. And Susanne also explained that in a little bit more detail so that you get a little bit of behind the scenes how the puzzles were organized.
We had one room where all the puzzles were stored. We made for each team one row of puzzles, puzzle number 13 at the bottom, and then in the right order to the top. So we had 63 of them in one separate room. There we had some tables, and we just we numbered all of the puzzle columns from 1 to 63. And then we also numbered the bags. So all the empty bags were brought to that room, and the volunteers there just know from the number on the bag from which column of puzzles they need to take the puzzle and put it into the bag. They grabbed the top one and put it in the bag, and then there were some others. We had some that only put the puzzles into the bags, and some that brought the bags to the tables. In total, there were 3 people who did this packing job, do the puzzles into the bags. And yeah, so it was possible that all of the volunteers could also have some break and not running 10 hours through the venue.
Now, as we have already mentioned, there was an extremely good live stream of the entire event. So the entire 10 hours of the event, there was a live stream going on the YouTube channel of the German Puzzle Association. I'm going to link that up here so that you can take a look once you're done with this video. And I also got to speak a little bit in there because apart from showing all the puzzling action, they had some guest interviews and guest hosts to make the live stream also a little bit more engaging and for people to hear some of the participants of how they are feeling. And it was a great experience. So I definitely wanted to talk with Susanne a little bit about the live stream as well, to know how they have pulled off all the technical sides and how they added all the little details that made it extremely professional, including the names of the teams that were displayed during the entire event. So whenever there was a camera showing a table, you could actually figure out who you are seeing on the screen, which was a very nice added detail that I think everyone has thought of before who has watched puzzling live streams in general of any competition. So let's hear how it was executed.
My husband, to Toby, because his idea was to have the live stream also for the whole day possible. He had the idea of using some automatically moving cameras. And that was the game changer of making this live stream possible, because you cannot have someone running 10 hours through the competition area and filming some people. So we needed to have a bit more help from just the cameras. They're moving automatically. And yeah, he had done this part in supporting me for all that has to do with the live stream. Yeah, he planned all those processes in the live stream, how he can bring the names of the teams to the live stream. As I mentioned before, we had some nearly automatically moving cameras. You can program them that they can move from one table to the other. And if you give the location of the tables to the camera, then you also know which team is sitting there. And those two informations combined made it possible that we had the information of the team names and the member names on the live stream. The host was a friend of also of my husband. They work together, and he's doing some other moderations, more in sports. He's not really into puzzling, but he was very interested from the beginning on, and he liked the idea absolutely that a lot of people just puzzling the whole day, and he was very enthusiastic, absolutely, and also he was there the whole day and prepared for interviewing the guests of the live stream, and also in the end with the prize ceremony. He really loved that a lot. And in the background, we had two others working on the live stream. We had also a friend of us, Marcus. He was also running through the room with a handheld camera and doing some additional photos and videos of the team. And Freddy, the son of Michael, was in the background. He also did the live stream on the German championship, so he had some more experience on that. And those five did a good job. Absolutely a very good job.
The one thing that I definitely wanted to include in this video is when Susanne was talking about what part of the event was the most rewarding for her, because obviously when someone organizes an event of this size, it involves so much work and so much sacrifice and energy. So it is good to hear when there are things that make the organizer themselves happy.
I think the most memorable moment was when I started the competition and just welcomed all the participants. And if you just stay there with the microphone and ask the people if they are ready to puzzle, and the whole room is just screaming and only happy people there, and that was so great.
Okay, so I think we're ready for the countdown. Ich denke, wir sind bereit. Seid ihr bereit für den Puzzle-Marathon? Are you ready to puzzle?
Also das schaut nicht nur gut aus, es klingt auch gut.
Now, the one question that I think was on everyone's mind already as we were there, but definitely since then, is whether the event is going to be happening again.
Yeah, yes, I think so. If we get the venue again, then I think, yeah, we will do it again. It's happening again.
So that was the interview with Susanne Wessely, the organizer of the 10-hour marathon. But I still want to talk a little bit about our team and how we did, because obviously for us it was also a competition. Now, once the 10 hours were over, obviously it came to the results. And well, the one thing that I want to highlight, there's no videos of it, but we're very proud of it, that our team, the team Too Lazy for a Team Name, was fourth, which we're very, very proud of. And we managed to complete 10,991 pieces. And that means that we managed to complete 11 puzzles out of the 13. We got about halfway through the 12th puzzle, which was quite nice. We were not that far behind third place, which was a team from Spain. And it was the Puzzle Marauders, who have completed 11,148 pieces, snatching the third place. The second place team was the Rainbow Puzzlers, who have managed to complete 11,511 pieces. And they were one of the two teams that have started the 13th puzzle, which was a 1,500 piece Clementoni. And it was actually very fun to see them just start it with, I think, about 5 or 10 minutes to go. So they started their last puzzle really at the last minutes. And then the first place team was also a team from Germany, which was puzzling through the back pain, and they completed 11,851 pieces. They were obviously also on their 13th puzzle by the time the 10 hours were over, and they got some really cool prizes, including some humongous puzzles. All of the puzzle brands that were sponsoring the event were very generous to provide a lot of prizes, so much so that the organizers actually distributed a couple of special prizes as well. There was a special prize for the youngest participant of the entire event, and then they also had a raffle for some of the participants of the event. They just got random puzzle packages by a draw, so your table number was drawn or it was not. It was, I think, a very nice addition because it gave a little bit of extra excitement for everyone. That was the 10-hour puzzle marathon in Aschheim, Germany. It was an event that was extremely atmospheric, with so much attention to detail, so that the participants really only had to focus on doing their best in puzzling and just focusing on the amazing puzzles that they have chosen. And it's definitely an event that I'm going to be keeping an eye out for and doing my best to participate next year as well. Thank you very much for watching this slightly unconventional event recap. I hope that it was enjoyable. And once again, thank you to Susanne for agreeing to the brief interview that I have included in the recap as well. I think it was very nice to hear someone who has put so much work into an event to actually talk about how it happens. Maybe it gave you a little bit of inspiration to maybe organize your own puzzle event in the future. Now, if you enjoyed this video, then please show your appreciation by hitting the like button underneath the video, and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. There's still a lot of puzzle content coming this year. I definitely owe you one event recap from another competition that I still went to this year, and then there's pretty much the Christmas season coming very soon. So yes, thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next video.